I tell you what, Coke Zero, Sprite Zero,
He has
Diet
to
Dr Pepper, or
hates Coke.
hates Coke Zero.
Hates
Oh,
it.
that's right. He's Pepsi Max guy, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So I forget. Did he agree or did y'all agree or disagree that Pepsi Max in Europe tastes different than it does here
Oh
in
yeah,
America?
it does. Absolutely,
Does
it tastes
it
better.
still? It tastes better.
I think it tastes better.
Better.
Yeah,
Pepsi Max in Europe tastes better.
I thought it did.
You've never been more wrong.
Uh,
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Outer Belt. I am Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Herrick.
and Jerry.
And we're back with y'all. I apologize first and foremost for last week. We had a scheduling conflict, so we moved the recording date. Another scheduling conflict, and so we moved it again, and we're like, cool, everything's going to be good. And then we got an email reminding Eric and I that we were going to be in class when we were going to be recording that. And by the time it was all said and done, it just couldn't happen. But we're back, and we're excited. Ain't that right, Melissa?
Honestly, let's get this party started.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Woo!
You're up first.
I'm up first.
Yes.
Yes.
On the spot.
How's everything going on in recruiting?
Ooh, and recruiting. It's going good.
Next topic.
So, technical endeavors with Jerry. Jerry?
Doing good. Moving right along. Maintenance is getting some new software going.
Yeah?
Been helping them.
Yeah? How's that working out?
Doing good. I mean, it's learning, adjusting, getting used to putting things in that you're not used to doing. But I think it's going to be a really, really good tool to assist the company and assist them.
Now, when you say putting things in that you're not used to,
Data entry wise,
okay.
this program just requires a lot more data entry, whereas before they would put basic info in. This just requires a lot more data to be able to track everything.
But it's really good, right? So I know we've been talking about this software a lot internally. There's been a lot of conversations back and forth on how we can use it and optimize what we're doing. So, but with this new information, this new software, we're going to be able to track basically cost per mile of the truck, right? And we're going to be able to figure
I can
out.
already see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So every time a truck gets a repair done, every time we put new tires on, oil changes, all that stuff, it all gets factored in so we can actually see on a truck-by-truck basis what's it cost us to keep it running. What's the do we have like a truck that needs more help than others? Do we need to pull a truck in and get a little more heavy-duty repair, et cetera, right?
Absolutely. We're already seeing, we've been up and running for a week, and we're already seeing information like just down to the granular fuel gauge of looking at things. Like each truck in the fleet is averaging right now, it's costing about 26 cents per mile just to run the truck.
Yeah.
Roughly right now. And that's every truck across the fleet.
And of course, that varies, right? We have tractors, we have drive
Yes.
trucks, we have reefers. They all take different fuel usage, right?
Yep. So you're able to drill down all the way to a truck level to see what it's costing. And it even pops up recommendations throughout the life of the truck. It'll say, like, based on the repairs that you're doing, it'll recommend, okay, it's probably time to go ahead and sell this and move on and get it out of your fleet.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I'm excited to see how this comes to fruition. I mean, in ops, we aren't involved with that at all, for the most part. A little bit. But I imagine that when we get a truck returned, that data from that software package may show up or be forwarded to us from maintenance for certain things that we wouldn't necessarily see or know about. So I'm excited to see how it works out for us. I really am.
Yeah, there's a mobile app involved, and you and Melly over in Ops, I've got you guys set up.
Yeah.
You're full. You can see all the trucks, so you should be able to see a lot of that information. And
I'm looking forward to working with it. I really am.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool platform, really cool addition. I mean, it was a truckload of cash, and I remember, I still to this day remember when you and I first talked about it, and you were like, this software is great, we should do it. And I was like, okay, sell me on it. And then you were like, it's great and awesome. Remember that conversation?
well, I said a little more than that, but I am not a salesman.
Yeah. And so he dropped a price in front of me, and I was like,
No.
I'm like, yeah, that's never gonna happen. But what's really cool is you didn't stop, and I appreciate that because you saw the benefit. Even like, how do I put this? Even though you at that particular moment in time, you couldn't verbalize, here's why I see the benefit. You stuck with it. You were like, this is something. We need to figure this out. And you got with Jimmy and really worked with him and worked with Don about what do y'all need help with, what aspects would be beneficial, etc. And then not only that, but also through all the lines of communication, you were able to go back to the software manufacturer or the proprietor of the software and actually say, hey, here's our situation. How do we work out deal? I don't know, like a little bit of negotiation back and forth to make it happen.
I did.
And the final product you put together, it's almost half price what the original figure was. And now I understand what you saw back then. I understand now and see. And it's, I'm excited about it. I really am. Well, some of the things that are going to be really cool that we're going to be able to track going forward too are like common issues with the trucks that we see when they leave. So when a truck leaves our yard for the first month, sometimes there are issues where a truck leaves our lot and immediately goes to a shop. Literally, it happens.
Sure.
Probably every 3 or 4 trucks, one has to go straight to another shop because we get a truck ready for drivers, and then it may sit in the lot for 2 or 3 weeks before a team actually moves in because they have to turn and notice their current employers, and we have to get that scheduling figured out in rental cars, our flights, or whatever situation U-Hauls it is to get to Columbus. Doesn't always work out nicely, so it can be anywhere from literally like 2 days to 3 weeks before a team gets into a truck that we've got prepared for it. And 3 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks of sitting out there in the yard, things can happen. The worst thing you can do with a truck is not run it. So if a truck sits for 2 or 3 weeks in the yard, like it's a leak can develop that wasn't there before.
Sure.
There's all kinds of issues. So what's really cool with this software is we're actually going to be able to go and look at, okay, the first 30 days a team has a truck. Here's the issues that we found with it. And then we can look at, okay, 3 months later, all this data, all these teams that have moved in this truck, here's 3, 4, maybe 1 or 2 things that are very common. So now we can put that in as our preventative maintenance.
Right.
Whereas right now we don't really have an easy way to do that without
that
going
makes
through,
sense.
literally going through every single invoice and looking and making a Excel spreadsheet of every single problem. It would take you forever.
Right.
Whereas this software can do it on the fly. So it's really cool data that we're able to get. It's funny because I talked to Jimmy a lot, and I was talking to him the other day, and he was talking about how excited he is about Fleetio, but the temporary pain, which is you've had to put in years worth
of data.
Not a year.
No, multiple.
Years worth of data into the system.
In a very short period of time.
In a very short period of time. And even still, the stuff you're doing now, you're they are quadruple entering it into the system because we have our old system that we haven't fully merged off of yet. So we have to update the current system, the old system, and 2 redundancies where it's just a lot. Now, once everything's fully moved over, those go away. But, one doesn't, but the other 2 do. So it'll be a lot simpler. But it is, right now, it's just an overwhelming amount of paperwork, administration, I guess you'd call it.
I mean, we've already run into some issues. I guess probably our 3rd day in, we had a mix-up on some trucks, and some of the data already got moved around just because we're not completely versed on how to put it in and make sure everything stays the way it should be. So I did, like, probably the 3rd day in, Jimmy texted me, and he's like, hey, we got a problem, and I got in there, and let's just say it was at 4:30 in the evening, and I didn't stop working on it until about 11 o'clock that night.
Wow.
Just to make sure that we had it back the way it should be for the next morning, and we can move forward.
Well, that's so important too, though. I mean, what's the old saying? Garbage in, garbage out. So if the data we're not putting in there isn't good data, then the reports are useless, and we wasted a lot of money. So I think it's important that we make sure that happens that way.
100% agree with you. Absolutely.
I want to be on a fresh page the next day with everything the way it should be.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, and to my knowledge, and you may say otherwise because we haven't really talked about this in the last week or so, but to my knowledge, the company that we're working with, they're great. Like, they've been able to support us, and we've had issues. They've we've sent it to them, and they've been able to go, oh no, here's the way you should do this, right?
They've helped.
They actually gave y'all props. I remember when I think you told me this. You were talking to them like a week after we had the program, right? 7 days. You had to follow up with them, right? And they were flabbergasted that you were able to put that much data in such a short period of time.
Yes.
Were they really?
Yes.
Yes,
And
they
you
were.
have to understand this program too. Like there are companies that have 2,000-3,000 trucks, or 2,000 taxi cabs, because it does all kinds of like anything vehicle related. It does it
Sure.
all. You could have a 5 tractor fleet, not like, and I mean tractor like as in John Deere, Caterpillar
Right.
tractor fleet. It'll help manage that. You could have a taxi service. You could have a trucking company. It does a lot of stuff, and there are several thousand truck fleets and several thousand car fleets that utilize the same software, and they were like, "How on earth did this little tiny 120 truck fleet put this much data in such a short period of time?" So, like, I know y'all were really happy about it, but I was also happy too. I'm like, that's great. That is a testament to the people behind the scenes working at
Sure.
Hyfield
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
of how good and how efficient they really are. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's quite a few large trucking companies that use this. Doyle Trucking, they're
Yeah.
one of the ones that use this software, and so yeah, it's really I think it's going to be great in the long term once we're fully
Mhm.
rolling with it. Which I would say we are 90% there. Like
Wow.
Wow.
we are really rolling along.
so I'm thinking a lot of that too is going to be a lot easier because coming up soon. Actually, I'm sorry, not soon. 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, I don't remember what it was.
Yep.
We just announced our new staff member. That's right. We brought on Eric, but not you, a different Eric.
Because you like duplicate names.
I do like duplicate names. Kelly and Kayla,
Yeah.
Yep.
Melissa and Melissa,
Yep.
Eric and Eric.
Yep.
Like, it just works.
Dina and Delina.
Delina and Delina.
Yeah. Vincent
Dina.
and
Jer-
Patrick.
Don and Donnie,
Right.
Jerry and Jimmy.
Jerry and Jimmy.
Yep.
It's kind of the thing we do. So no, we just brought Eric on, and again, different Eric, and he's going to be joining the maintenance staff.
Yep.
And he's actually been working in a couple days now in the yard
Yeah,
with
couple
you.
days in the
How's that
yard.
been going?
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah,
It's rough. Oh my! But he's been off the truck for a little bit. 'Cause he did drive.
it is. He did drive
He
for us.
did drive for us for a little
That's
bit.
right.
Um,
He and his wife,
he and his wife.
and they did great job.
did a great job on the
Also
road.
at
but
Panther, but
yeah, it's been rough. It's been a rough couple of days.
I could see that.
Been a
I could
rough
see that.
couple
Look,
days.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that happens when you don't do something for a hot minute and you try it again. It's like,
You got to
wait
get
a
back
second.
into it. Sure.
You're like, okay,
Sure.
so do I put the olive oil in before I put the eggs?
Right.
Or do the eggs just go straight in the pan?
Right.
I don't
It takes
recall
a while.
which it
It takes
is.
a
So
while,
it does
so-
take a minute.
But it's been getting better.
Yeah.
And better. You know, he showed up the first morning and didn't bring coffee.
Well,
First strike.
listen.
Okay. And then when it came to lunch, you know, I took him out to lunch. Like,
Yes.
hey, your first day.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team. Let's go have some lunch.
Waffle House, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Waffle House,
Of
just
course.
over the highway.
Yep.
He didn't want to pay.
Hmm.
I'm like, bruh. And you know me, I don't say bruh unless I mean bruh.
That's right.
I'm like, bruh, this is on you, partner.
Yeah.
You know, you the one that wants this job, that needs this job.
Absolutely.
You need to come out of the
Needs a-
pocket for some lunch.
Needs a strong word.
So
Want.
want, right?
Yeah.
So once we got all that worked out, we went back to the yard, and he's like, all right, what's next? I'm like, a nap? I mean, you know, come on.
Waffle House.
Yeah, Waffle House.
It's
Again.
Carb House.
Again, bruh, a nap, right? So I had my nap, and he did whatever he did. And he's like, okay. I got up, and I got out of the car, and I walked over, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Don't tell me what's going on. He's like, all right, what's next? I go, it's time to go home. So, you know, again, it's been rough, but I'm breaking him in slowly but surely. You know, he's learning. And for those of you that don't know, that's all a joke. I don't actually know how things are going yet because we pre-record.
We do pre-record.
But I am looking forward to Eric joining me on Thursday morning for day one so I can help ease him into the equipment he's going to be working with on the phone with some of you folks. So I'm excited about it.
I do hope that on Thursday y'all do go to Waffle House.
We
lunch.
will. We will go to Waffle House, and
right.
he will bring me coffee. Matter of fact. Let me remind him now.
Just get a little text message.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's hysterical. You do 2 sugars, right?
No, I don't do sugar at all. Just
you
cream.
do cream.
Just
cream,
cream,
that's
no
it, yeah.
sugar. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just a
It
nice
depen-
iced Americano with heavy
There you
cream.
go.
Yeah, it just depends on the coffee. I don't know. If it's an espresso, I don't want nothing. Just give it to me straight out of the blender. I mean the what's the machine called again?
The espresso
machine.
Yeah.
So the espresso does come out of the machine
It
called
does.
an espresso
Right.
machine.
Yes.
Yeah, don't even put a lid on it.
No.
We
no,
tried a new coffee place, and I know you probably all are all talking done about Eric.
No, but I do love coffee houses.
We
Well,
tried 2 new coffee places.
But he brought up coffee, so I just wanted to
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
tag on that, and then we can go back. So Vince and I, instead of doing dinner dates somewhere new, we've been doing coffee dates somewhere new, and
so much more affordable.
It
so
is.
much more affordable.
So we did Thursday
morning. Yeah.
we did Mr. Coffee Bean, and
Mr. Coffee Bean?
Mr. Bean Coffee,
I think so.
Mr. Coffee Bean, I think is what it is.
Okay.
Anyways, in Powell.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize there were so many businesses behind the front of this, city front street. Anyway, so we went there, and I always get the same thing, and I went rogue.
Like the Valley?
No, I went rogue. I did a sugar-free iced mocha.
And?
Yeah, no. I think the sugar-free syrups were a little bitter.
'Kay.
She
They
did
can
give us a free sample of their cold brew, and it was delicious. She stated that they make their Americanos with their cold brew.
No, they make all their ice drinks
Ice
with their
drinks.
cold brew.
Yes.
Their Americanos made with their espresso.
So, at any rate, the sample was delicious. I did enjoy the flavor of the coffee, but the bitterness of the syrup really cut through. Vince was going to go back and get me an Americano. Like, we barely left the shop, and I'm like, no, this is what I wanted. This is what I'll drink, but we're coming back.
Oh, this was a grab and go. It wasn't like a sit in the coffee
No,
shop.
No, it was
No,
grab
we
and go.
grabbed and go.
Yeah.
No, we had work to do.
Yeah.
But his Americano was delicious. The vibe in there was super cool. I cannot wait to go back. In fact, I would do like a Saturday and maybe not drink all my coffee, but
Just hang out for a little
just
bit.
hang out for
Yeah.
20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool place. Again, about a month ago, we went and did another coffee shop. That was more down in Upper Arlington, and that was a delicious coffee shop. I don't remember the name of it. I'd have to do some Google work, but I
You're
go back
in
to
my
that
neck
one
of the
too.
woods, and you didn't invite me.
You don't
know
like
what?
coffee.
We hadn't planned to go to that
Yes.
place, actually. So the place we went to last Thursday was Mr. Bean in Powell. We hadn't planned to go there. We actually were going to go to Mr. Bean originally a couple months ago, but I had to do something in the yard, I think. So it was a real quick change of plans, and it was a Saturday morning date day. So, no, you weren't invited.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then I
Makes
guess,
sense.
Ultimately, the answer is no, we didn't invite you.
and then
Well,
I guess
it-
Saturday we did another one too.
We did.
I forgot about that one because we went and tried a new, I'm going to say it wrong, but a new burrito taco truck. And they're parked in a coffee shop parking lot. And we've actually been there a couple times, and they're always closed, both businesses. Like, we're just not hitting them right. And I saw a Facebook ad that said that they were open. So we went to go try the taco truck. And I'm like, well, we're here and the coffee shop's open, so let's try their coffee. And that coffee was delicious as well. It's been really hard to find good coffee that isn't Starbucks or Dunkin's. Like, I want the no brand, no name mom and
Well,
pop
that's-
chain, and so far we're up to 3. And that one was down off West Broad, so a little further down in town. But all 3 have been delicious. So it's
Yeah,
been
they
fun
have.
trying somewhere
They have.
different, and like you said, a little easier on the pocketbook. If you
Well,
want to do something more frequently.
I do love a good mom and pop coffee shop. The problem is a lot of them,
Yes.
not all, not even most, but enough of them are like, hey, let's try. We're like, come enjoy us. We're doing this unique. We're roasting it, but we're roasting it with a magnifying glass in the sun.
Yeah.
Right. 'Cause- 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 right.
That's not working.
There's another one in Powell. I've tried it twice. The first time, it was a no-go. Like, it was awful.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, maybe it just
Bad day.
bad day.
Bad day.
So I did give it in good effort because, again, I want to support local. Everybody knows, I'm sure I've said it before, but I love supporting local. So I did try it a second time, and no, it's their coffee. It literally tastes rancid and burnt. And I just, when you're keeping it very simple with just heavy cream
Coffee matters.
and coffee, you can't have burnt coffee. Yeah, and it tastes like it's been sitting on the diner in the craft for
too
4
long.
days.
Yeah.
Like it's bad. So, but Mr. Bean was good.
I think that's it's almost like cocktails, right? Like a fancy frou-frou coffee drink, enough syrup, enough flavoring,
Sure.
enough
It
milk,
hides all
it
the
buries
flaws.
the flaws.
Yep.
But if you are like I am an espresso person, I want it neat. Yeah, I guess that's right. I don't know what the right word is. I want it
It works.
Neat, yeah.
up neat. I don't want I don't want anything in it. I want it straight off the machine.
I think the word they use in coffee is black.
I want it yes, okay. But I want it like fresh off the machine, and so I am tasting the oils. I'm tasting everything that's going into that. The complexity or simpleness or whatever it may be. The roast, how long it's been roasted, where it's from, the region. All that flavor comes out.
Yep.
And so it's hit or miss. Some are good, some are bad.
Sure.
There was a place out in Short North that we all went to. It's been a while, a couple of years ago. And they had the whole scientific experiment set up. They had the beakers and the Bunsen burner and the fallopian tubes and everything. And it was...
they had it all.
They had it all. And the coffee was terrible when we went back.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love ambiance, I love atmosphere, all that stuff,
They had a
right?
really cool scientific thing.
Do you remember that place?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, I think the chai was delicious, wasn't it? I want to say the chai
But that's
was...
not coffee.
It's not coffee, but it was delicious, but the actual coffee was not. And I do want to go back and try them again. Like you said, I think any restaurant deserves 2 shots, I think.
Sure.
Because you never know, especially with coffee, if you get a bad batch, a few months later that batch is gone, so you try something else.
Sure.
But it is, I do love those experiences. One of my favorite memories that I have is being in London at a coffee shop. Eric and I had just gotten to London. We couldn't check into our hotel yet, so we dropped our luggage off, and then we had to go kill some time. And it was snow was on the ground, which in London is rare. And this is not London, Ohio; it's London, England. Snow's on the ground, which is rare. They never get snow. And we're freezing to death. And we found a coffee shop, and we go to the coffee shop and had just the perfect cup of coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a few of those.
You do.
If you drink a lot of coffee a couple times a year, you get a cup of coffee where you're like, wow, this is just perfect.
Yeah.
It was there, freezing cold, standing room only. Like we literally are at a bar that is intended for standing. There are no benches. Nobody thought that you would ever be sitting here.
Right.
It is a standing only kind of place. Drink your coffee and then move on. And that kind of coffee, those memories, those experiences and tastes, I love those. But a lot of coffee shops do get it wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it does take some experimenting and going to other places.
We've been
and
lucky.
stuff.
Three for 3 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 for 3.
Okay.
Upper Arlington,
3 for
Mr. Bean, and next to the Bria Tacos.
Yeah.
I'll have to get you those so you can go check them out.
Yeah, the second one that was in off Broad Street, North Broad, was Third Way Coffee House.
Yes.
So
It was
Kind
eclectic.
of always been
very
a
eclectic.
dream of mine to have a coffee house.
Yeah.
I love coffee so much.
What would it be called?
Human Bean.
No.
That exists already.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Did you buy your espresso maker yet?
No.
Okay. That's where you start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, again, I didn't mean to take us off Fleetio and Eric Bender, but you brought it up coffee,
I
and
did
I
bring
just
up
wanted to
coffee.
share we had
He's-
a
Eric,
quick coffee date.
Just a
so-
reminder, Eric, you're buying me coffee Thursday.
Yeah.
You bought me coffee Thursday.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Pilot.
Yeah.
House
Pilot
blend.
makes good coffee.
They do.
Oh.
Pilot house blend.
Oh,
What?
we've got different.
Oh.
The Pilot
No.
Sumatra blend.
Sumatra.
Ain't no
Yes,
truck
sir.
stop. There's not near a truck stop in this entire country that has good coffee.
Pilot House Blend.
Pilot has
0.
good coffee.
Loves did a seasonal one that was delicious.
Yes, your pumpkin spice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
I liked it iced.
don't talk to me about TA coffee. I would rather
Battery acid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many times we would make coffee on the truck, and then I would be driving, and I would just stop thinking, okay, I'm going to run in and grab a cup of coffee because I don't want to hop back there and wake him up and all that mess.
Right.
And I would go in, Pilot, TA, Loves, I would try them all, and then Pilot started doing the whole grind the beans
Right.
and make all that.
Yep, fresh to
It's
the cup.
just garbage. Every single bit of it is downright garbage.
All right. You know what's funny? And I don't disrespect your opinion. I've been taught when I'm doing an orientation with new drivers, and somehow I'll talk to them about our preferred truck stops.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, but I love Pilot coffee." I'm like, "I'm right there with you. Pilot's my favorite coffee on the road."
Yep.
Stop in and get a cup of coffee. Just we prefer you don't fuel there,
Absolutely.
but they do have great coffee.
Yep.
So I disagree with you, Zeri, but I respect your opinion.
Again, I used to go and start my shift off at Love's, and I wouldn't start with coffee, but I'd start my shift off at Love's. Usually that's where we're getting diesel. We'd top the truck off, make our swaps, and then we would head on out. And then when it was time for my 30-minute break, it was always a Pilot. And I'd go in there and get my Pilot coffee, Pilot House Blend, that ice cold French vanilla, because they actually do have it in a refrigerator, and it's ice cold when it hits there.
Yeah.
And then I'd walk over it because Pilot's coffee comes out at approximately 246 degrees.
Yes.
Flaming hot.
Yeah, it's crazy hot. McDonald's got sued. Pilot by far beats McDonald's. And I'd go over to the Coke machine or whatever and get just like a handful of the ice, and then throw it in there. And then finally I got smart and I started pre-icing.
That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Throw the ice in the cup.
Yeah.
It literally takes 3 cubes because I like hot coffee. I just want to take the inferno off.
Right.
I want that.
You don't want to burn your taste buds so you can't taste it anymore.
You're right. I want that steam to solidify back into coffee, and then that ice cold creamer and whatever. It was perfect. It was expensive. It was like $3.29 for a cup
Wow.
of coffee.
Yeah.
But it to me it was worth it because it was so much better than Love's. But in all fairness, we did get off the truck before Love's got the grinding machines
Right.
and all that stuff. So I have heard they got a lot better. TA, on the other hand,
No improvement.
TA
None.
TA owns a company called Country Pride. Is that right?
Yes.
Country Pride, yeah.
Country Pride, the restaurant.
Yeah.
Country Pride's
yeah.
coffee, on point.
Yeah, good coffee.
It's delicious.
Good coffee.
I could sit there, eat a meal, have 3-4 cups. It's great. Their
Go out
truck
to the
stop,
stop.
it's battery acid.
That's weird.
I don't understand. You are you're the same company.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be more expensive to have 2 different types of coffee?
possibly.
Did I ever tell you about the time we had a hazmat load that was coffee creamer?
No.
Yeah. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, was it dry coffee creamer?
It was dry coffee creamer.
Probably flammable.
It was going to a
Yes.
to a food distribution center, but it was actually branded a truck stop brand. So
Yeah.
it was going to that truck stop eventually. But yeah, it was dry coffee creamer. It was flammable. It was hazmat.
My
My
dad.
mom used to do magic tricks with coffee cream.
My dad was in flour milling for years. Their giant tanks and the whole mill had this incredibly advanced fire suppression
Yeah,
system.
I believe it.
And
That
I
stuff's
asked him
flammable.
why, and he said, that when we crush that powdered flour up and it's in the air and it's condensed, a little spark will create a massive explosion.
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you don't think like all Betty Crocker all-purpose flour would be
Yeah.
flammable, but in the quantity and the size and in the air, and it's just enough oxygen with enough flour, it absolutely does fly.
It's very
flame.
interesting.
Mom would take the creamer and the powdered creamer and kind of sprinkle it, and she'd take her cigarette lighter and make this firework spectacle out of it.
I do love a spectacle.
I do too.
Eric, did you like coffee out on the road when you were driving?
We did Loves most of the time, and I'd get 1 cup of coffee, and it would last
The whole shift.
9 of my 10 hours.
And that was a small.
Yeah, it was small.
Oh no.
Slow drinker.
Yeah. Well, that's why I didn't like Yetis. When I was out on the road driving, I didn't use a Yeti cup because the Coffee Pilot House
It
blend
kept it way too
would
hot.
stay way too hot.
Yeah.
It'd be like hour 9. And it's like, oh, finally I can drink it.
Well, when I take my coffee or tea in the wintertime to work in my Yeti cup, I actually do put ice in it so I can cool it off and actually drink it within the hour. Otherwise, it has to sit there forever, and it doesn't cool. It cools off after I want the coffee or tea.
And it makes me think of, like, again, so, like, cooler technology, all that stuff just blows me away because I am very much a child of the early 90s where we used our Igloo was our preferred cooler, and it would hold ice for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, all this Yeti and all this stuff, technology is, like, blow my mind. We were, 3 weeks ago, we were at Bourbon Fest. Y'all saw Kelly and Jimmy were here. They went to that with us as well. We talked about it in the last podcast. And the first thing we did was they brought in a thing of ice.
Yeah.
And we put it in a Yeti cooler. And it held ice the entire weekend.
Yeah,
it got to the point
Not
where
a day.
She dumped
like
it.
the next day, we were beating on the thing to break it up because it was a solid block of ice at that point.
By the way, the bottom of my cup is now dented.
Mine is too.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is too.
I saw that. I got out of the dishwasher the other day, and I was like, dang it.
So I bought this little rubber thing here,
Yeah.
aftermarket, because my cup won't stand by itself anymore.
No.
Because
He's showing his Hydro Flask
I'm showing my
glass.
Hydro Flask and all the dents in the bottom. It won't
May I?
hold. Yes, please.
This will be on the show notes.
Do we want to do it with maybe that sticker and not the Bourbon Pursuit sticker in the picture?
Ooh, I like that one. What is that? Hold on. What is that sticker?
That is the Luke Shire Expediting Adventure with the world famous catchphrase, "Don't leave money on the table."
So the pumpkin spice that Loves does,
Yes.
I would actually get it in my own cup at like the end of my shift, and then I would put it in the refrigerator. And this is when we were doing a protein shake of some sort. And so the next day when it was my shift or during my next shift, just depending on how I feel, whether I want a hot coffee or cold, but I would add a vanilla protein shake powder to it. But it was that pumpkin spice.
Oh, I bet that was delicious.
And it was so good. But they took it off the market, and now they're doing some cinnamon Christmas stuff. And it is not the same as the pumpkin
At
spice.
Love's?
Yeah.
How often do you get to Lowe's to
Not very
taste it?
often. So the last time I went was
Last Christmas.
well, they don't come out with the pumpkin stuff until like September, October, and they run it a few months, and then they get rid of it. But last year during September, October, they didn't have it, and it was now some cinnamon stuff, and I'm like, that's just not the same as the pumpkin.
You talked about Pilot being hot coffee. That's your first clue right there that it's bad. The National Coffee
that's so hot.
Association says
The National what?
Coffee Association
Oh, okay.
says that the optimal brewing temperature is 195 to 200, 202 at max.
Is that the NCA?
So if you already are at like 230, 240 degrees, you're brewing too hot, it's going to over-extract the coffee. It's going to be bitter and nasty.
Yep.
Somehow it's delicious, though. I don't understand.
Somehow it is. Yeah.
It was always his favorite place. And I would say probably once a month when we'd stop there, we'd restock up on snacks because like their pistachio and their jerky was always a better price than the other
And
stores.
they had a flavor of pistachios we couldn't get at
Somewhere
Love's,
else.
I think, too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, we stopped there and dumped the pot every now and again, and I'd go get some coffee.
Was that the place they had those the pistachios that were like chili powder? Or
Yes.
something?
That's exactly what they were.
Yeah.
They were the brand of pistachios you see everywhere, but they had them with the chili, spicy something.
Chili lime?
Chili lime, yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
they
pretty
were
good.
really good.
Yeah.
You couldn't get them at Love's, though.
I did have those a few times. They were good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to go to TA because TA had the M&M trail mix by M&M.
Okay.
Oh.
And the best thing about those was they had no raisins. So it was M&Ms. It was
Nuts.
nuts of the various
Right.
types and sizes, and they had a little bit of like I don't know if it was cookie or if it was granola or what, but it made an awesome trail mix.
We would've-
And of course they stopped selling
Yeah.
that.
We would avoid TA like the plague. I just didn't care for TA. I still don't care for
Well-
TA. There were times when we had no option.
Yep.
But if we had to go to TA and get a shower, I just did not like going to TA, and I just didn't.
I tell you what's interesting, and I want to go to TA and see how they're doing, but our fuel program that we use has renegotiated fuel prices with TA.
I saw that
I
email
was
today.
just on the app that kind of tells you where the best prices to buy fuel are with our program, and TA makes up about 40% of the places. Love's still edges them out most of the time, but about 40% were TAs, and it made me go like, hey, I wonder what TA's doing. I wonder what's going on, because we talked about TA building new truck stops.
we did.
Petro's building new truck stops. They're obviously putting new money in the stores. Did they get bought up by BP? We talked about that a couple.
I think they did.
Yeah, they got bought up by BP. So I'm curious, with them renegotiating prices, how are they coming along with their stores? Are they getting better? And I'd be very interested to see if they become a viable option in the future, because that is, like, I love Love's. They've been a great company to us. And if I were on the road, I'd still probably prefer to fuel there. But at the end of the day, money's money. If I'm going to save 20 cents a gallon to go to TA, I'm going to do that. And I want to know, is TA holding up their end of the bargain, which is clean showers? It is comfortable lounges. It is good selection of foods, which they always have. TA's always been a good selection of foods. Is their convenience store prepped, which, again, they always have been. The other thing I like about Love's is very big on, like, pushing out sales. So you can hit a Love's up and get a good bargain on a lot of food.
Sure.
Certainly.
I'd like to see if TA's doing the same thing or not.
Yeah.
TA's truck supplies, they've always been better than what anybody else
Yes,
is.
they have.
TA and they've always had a better chrome shop. They've always had a better truck supply stuff. And if you don't see it in their store, you go to their shop. A lot of times their shops have a whole lot more
stuff
to sell.
They
so
They're closing in Corning, California, which is a big whoop-de-doo for Vince and I. It's kind of where we hail from.
yeah.
They're closing the TA in Corning, California. It was like 250 spots. No reason why is what I read, unknown. But it's a major truck stop before you go over the pass there. Why can't I think of what that pass is called? My goodness, it's where I grew up. It's where we lived.
I'm drawing a blank there too.
Siskiyou?
Is that Siskiyou's there? That far south?
Anyways, over Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
So dropping down into the Rogue Valley or Medford. So, and you do get a lot of closed weather due to the snow over that pass. But, I mean, that there is a Love's.
There's a Love's there. There's a Petro there as well.
But they're not 250 parking places.
That Love's is a lot of parking space. It's a huge Love's. But when it comes right down to it, if that highway is closed going north,
you need those 250.
You need those 300 spaces for trucks. Yeah.
Yep. I thought, wow. But again, what are they doing with that? Like you were saying, what's TA doing? Are they rebranding? Is it going to come back BP or TA or refreshed, or what are they doing?
Yeah, and TA does a lot of franchising. So I don't know if that's a franchise store or a corporate store. It could be a franchise store that's going out of business. It could be that it's at Amazon bought them. I mean, like, who knows, right? Like, they may not even own the land they're on. Like, a lot of these companies lease the property they're on.
Yeah.
And when the end of the lease comes up and they get to renegotiate, sometimes those companies just say, no, we don't want to lease that property out anymore. We want to take it back and do what we want to do with it. So it's
well, I hope those that drive I-5 headed north in winter are prepared, because it is officially has been closed.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I mean, it's nice that in our industry we don't do that corridor very often.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely, like, you don't want to see a truck stop closed these days, especially not one that's at the beginning or ending of a pass, because that's critical parking.
Yeah,
but
it truly is.
I totally get it. But all that to say, we just want to welcome Eric into the family, and we're excited to have you on board.
We really are. We really truly are.
Think things are going to come great from you being here. Yeah. So
welcome, Eric.
Welcome.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
So this weekend was quite fun. Again, last weekend we said everything got schedules, conflicts, yada, yada, yada. So this weekend, I know we told y'all last week that we did our motorcycle endorsement permit.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric and I spent the past 4 days, or not past 4 days, but the 4 days last weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, doing this class. On Thursday and Friday, it was book stuff, right? It was nighttime classes. Fair North Harley-Davidson, if you haven't been up there, it's in Sunbury. There's a Pilot and Flying J right there.
Yeah.
There's also a huge outlet mall.
Yep.
It's a neat little place. Got a Cracker Roll and a Waffle House. And it's also a nice BP in the Shell station, in case you're curious. But the building's really cool. I actually love the architecture of that building. It is like this big brick warehouse factory-looking building. Huge Harley-Davidson water tower on top of it. It's a very cool building. So we go there. Second floor of the factory area is where we did our classes. We debated between taking the Motorcycle Foundation of Ohio's class or taking the Harley class, but we all opted to do the Harley class. We were about 20 minutes into the class, maybe 30 minutes into the class, Eric, when I sent my first text message out. Do y'all remember that text message?
Yes.
Yes. The sales pitch has begun.
That's right. What was it verbatim? Do you remember it?
I'm looking for it right now.
Okay. It was...
Something like, and here it is. I think that's what you said.
Was it here it is, or was it...
Or there it is, or something like that. And
Hold
Vince is like, what, the sales pitch for Harley-Davidson?
No, that's not what it was. It was clever.
Oh, well,
you
hold
have it?
please. Here we go.
Un momento.
We're doing fact-checking.
Whenever you're ready, Vince.
I'm working through quite a few text messages here. That was Friday, so here we go.
Thursday.
Here
Okay.
we go. So Thursday
Yes?
at 6:25 p.m. And the class started at what time?
6.
The text message from Patrick is, the HD sales pitch has commenced.
Yes.
To which I responded, it's like you paid for a timeshare pitch. And simultaneous, Buttermilk responded, do you get a free cruise out of it?
We did too. We both
did,
wrote at the
yeah,
same
the same
time.
time.
And they
Yeah.
both hit, and then we high-fived each other.
We did.
Like,
We were sitting
we're
next
on
to each other. And,
we're like, same train of thought.
yep.
It was freaking hysterical because I'm expecting class, like book hours, right? And we're going to learn about riding a motorcycle.
Can I back up just a little bit?
You can.
What I didn't add was Eric's response that you do get 15% off. So,
That's
I
what they
mean,
said.
there's a sales
Yep.
pitch and a discount right there.
Right
built in.
there.
Not on a bike, apparently, but
No.
accessories.
We get up
So,
there and, we got to sign in and there's some like legal, if you get hurt in this class, you promise not to sue us
Right.
type stuff we have to fill out and give it back to them. We do a introductory thing where we meet people.
Mhm.
And
Icebreaker.
Yeah, an icebreaker. That goes fine. And then we all sit down after we've introduced each other. And the guy's like, all right, well, we're going to go downstairs to the showroom. And I'm like, are you kidding me? like immediately. It's like, all right, we're going to go downstairs to the showroom. And we're going to do a little tour of the sales floor. We're going to talk to parts. We're going to go see service. And then we're going to go do apparel. And then we have a little museum for y'all to go through.
Wow.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So we all left as a group, went downstairs, and went to sales, and got the sales manager and this, some other salesperson out there just welcome us to Harley-Davidson family, and we're here to help you buy bikes, and we know you're starting out, so these new bikes may not be for you, but we have used section up on the third floor, so actually above us
Wow.
was the used motorcycle sales place, which ended up being kind of annoying because there were several times we'd be like in class and just above us you'd hear whoa and it's like, well, someone's testing that bike out.
Yeah.
And so we go do the motorcycle sales, get the whole pitch there, then we go do parts and we get the whole pitch there, and then we go over to service. We literally go out into the garage and we meet everybody there, and then we walk over to apparel, and she shows us where the Harley merchandise is, where's the non-Harley merchandise, where's the Faro merchandise, and then we go to the museum and we learn that Faro Harley-Davidson is the oldest continuously running Harley-Davidson dealership ever. It used to be AD Faro, and down in Oh, Eric, do you remember the name of the city that they were based out of?
The business has been the longest Harley-Davidson. They've just moved sites.
They've moved locations several times because they're
Okay.
like over 100 years old. Oh, they do a ride out there too.
What is Pharaoh? Is it somebody's name?
80 Farrow. 80 Farrow started the company.
I see.
And then he died in the 20s, 1920s, not the 2020s. And his wife Lily, I want to say Lily, something like that. She took over and she ran the company for a long time, and then it's been bought and sold a few times.
Nelsonville, Ohio.
Nelsonville, Ohio.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
80 Farrell died at the age of 27.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that young, but yeah, I knew it was in the 20s. And so his wife ran it for years because everybody expected her to sell the business because she's a woman.
Well,
But she actually pushed back and was like, I'm going to run this business. And she ran it for years and years and years. So eventually, today, Reichart owns it. So Reichart Automotive Group is a huge company here in Ohio and Columbus. They own a lot of dealerships, and they own Faro now.
Wow.
They have a couple different locations, the one up north and the one out east. But it used to be AD Faro and Company, which everybody knows about, or AD Faro, Harley-Davidson. And they removed the AD, they say, allegedly, because they want to honor the fact that Lily, or I think her name was Lily.
Lily, yeah.
It was
Lily.
okay. Lily, she ran the company for so many years that they didn't think it was appropriate that AD's name be on it since, yes, he did start it, but she ran it for all those years and never got credit, so they wanted to just make it Faro Harley.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I did think that was very neat. So, did a couple of days of class there. Then we spent 2 days out on the range, and it rained and rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. But we learned how to ride a motorcycle, learned how to shift, learned how to do a bunch of maneuvers, all that stuff. And yeah, so now the next steps are I try to find a bike, right?
Yeah.
Exciting.
I will tell
Yeah.
you, as someone who kind of I've enjoyed riding the bike. I hated most of the exercises, it was a very challenging course, especially as
Sure.
someone who this was like Saturday morning was my Saturday morning was my very first time ever stepping on a bike.
Right.
So learning how to ride and going through all that stuff, it was very difficult. I had no idea what to expect, and it was a challenge. But having gone through that, now it's like, all right, I need to find a bike and keep practicing those skills
Right.
and
Sure.
getting better. So now it's trying to find a bike, and I tell you what, that Harley-Davidson pitch was cool. I mean, it really, there's that little piece when you're in that class and they're talking about Harley-Davidson and
Yeah.
you kind of get the lineage and you see the culture. It's like, this is really cool. I can't afford to play in Harley-Davidson land. Oh my
It's
gosh.
an expensive world.
I'm like, this bike looks cute. What's it? And it's 3 times the price of a Suzuki. Like, it's insane.
One of the things we did last weekend that we weren't able to talk about was we went on a big group ride with some friends of ours who were in a riding club, and most of the bikes were Harleys. There were a few, mine included, that were not. But hearing that rumble from 40 bikes, probably 40
it was
bikes,
about 40.
hearing that rumble from all those bikes was like, and
You
then
made a scene.
they're beautiful, and it was like, maybe I bought the wrong. No, I like my bike, but maybe we need a second. But
yeah,
but
I know.
then again, looking at the prices, that's not
No,
my
we're
budget
good with
at
this one.
all. Yeah, we're
The
good.
one guy we kept riding
We're
next
good.
to, I told him, I said, out of all of them that they kind of drown each other out
They do.
eventually.
Yeah,
He was obviously next to us, but
Yeah.
his was a little on the older
it
side.
was.
And it had this deep rumble,
It
louder almost than everybody
It
else's.
sounded amazing.
And his helmet was retro. It was like army.
It was
with-
like a fighter pilot.
it was
kind of,
fighter pilot. And he had
old-
the fighter kind of pilot glasses, and he was probably in his 20s.
Yeah.
But it was. They do have a sound, but
Well,
we had a good time riding in the group. It was a fun day.
And you know what Harley does to get that sound too? It's a giant displacement, 2-cylinder. You know, you got 2 pistons, just boom, 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 which is what gets you that growl. 4-cylinder, you won't have that loud.
Sure.
The 6-cylinder, like the
yeah.
Gull Wing, it completely is gone.
Yeah.
And so that's how they get that growl. A lot of them are carbureted. I mean, they don't do the. I think now they do fuel injected.
They
but
do
a
feel
lot
injecting
of them,
now. Yeah.
a lot of even up to fairly recently weren't. Then of course everybody pulls all the mufflers and all the
Sure.
stuff that's
Sure.
good for the environment off. Really gets those bikes dialed in to where they have that like beautiful sounding
That rumble.
rumble.
Yeah. I liked our bike. Our bike was just fine. I was very comfortable
sure.
on ours, and
Sure.
it did.
Very
It
happy
was.
with
It's
our
still
bike.
enjoyable.
I thought it was funny on our bikes that Eric and I rode for that they had school provided. They were Harley-Davidsons, but they were actually like they're not for sale in America because they're Harley-Davidsons, but they're made on a Chinese frame. From what I can tell, Harley-Davidson gets the frame and a bunch of components over from China. They still assemble them in America, but they're mostly Chinese parts. I think like the engine might be Harley, but most everything else isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
And but they assemble them here in America, so that's how it's an American bike. But it was a 1-cylinder, and Vince told me, he's like, 1-cylinders are brutal. They vibrate the whole bike, and I'm telling you, riding that thing around the course and doing all the track stuff, oh my gosh, your hands would start to get numb because it's just a constant like vibration like crazy.
1 cylinder, huh?
And what did I tell you they call those 1-cylinder bikes? Thumpers.
Yeah.
Because they just thump.
Wow.
That's it.
They were quiet thoe. I will say.
believe
They were
it.
quiet.
I believe
They
it.
were quiet. They were nice. So that was our weekend. It was a weird experience. The bikes were less than ideal. They fit me like I need a good.
Was like a clown car.
Yes. Yes, it was. It was downright painful. My hips and upper legs still kind of hurt
Yeah.
because I was so tight. I looked ridiculous on this thing. It was not a comfortable, fun experience. And again, like I said, it was raining.
Yeah.
I bought this rain gear off Amazon. Don't do that.
Thank you for the warning.
By the end of the day, all of my clothes were soaked. You know what's funny? So I'm wearing all this rain gear, right? So my helmet obviously is waterproof. My jacket and they have these like rain pants you put on over your jeans
Okay.
that are all waterproof, right?
Yeah.
You were
My
wet
jeans,
still.
my shirt, soaked with water.
Mm.
It's because
my-
it was warm rain, and you probably were sweating on the other side.
But not soaked. I mean, like it was obvious that rain
Rain had
had
gotten
gotten
through
in.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
My shoes, which were not waterproof at all, bone dry.
that's funny.
I'm like, I can't figure that out for
Yeah,
nothing.
That's great.
But
Wow.
it was an interesting experience. It was.
Nice.
There's a couple things I didn't like about it. There was several things I didn't like about it, but it was interesting. We had unfortunately pulled the short straw, so we were there when the instructors were getting critiqued by their upper management. What do you call them? Like the principal, Eric? I mean,
The
like
principal.
Administrators.
administrators, whatever.
I forgot what they call them.
And he literally a couple times, 3 times that I can think of, pulled one or two or both of them, or one or the other, or both of them out at the same time while we were on break, and had all I can say is a chewing out session. Is that what you would call it, Eric? I mean, like you
Couldn't
could
hear what they were saying, so
you couldn't
I
hear
could
what
just see their facial expressions.
yeah, exactly. You couldn't make out what they're saying. There were sometimes I heard elevated voices, but you still couldn't make out what they're saying in the faces and the flabbergasted, and you could tell every time this happened, the instructors would come back angry, and
That's unfortunate.
that did not make for the best experience.
That's
Especially,
too bad.
and what's frustrating too is like we paid more money for the Harley class because it's supposed to be the better one,
Right.
and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, which was kind of frustrating. And I'm hoping I get a survey so I
Yeah.
can let Harley know, like,
Sure.
this was a bad experience.
Yeah.
This makes me go, if this is the Harley experience, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Because I want them to look into it and fix it. But it was definitely frustrating. But at the same time, I'm also excited to get back on a bike. Like, I feel very underprepared.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
Like pop it into first gear, roll that throttle back, pop it into second gear, roll that throttle back. It's exhilarating. There was one time, so I was doing a maneuver too slow, and so one of the guys told me, like, you got to go faster to do this maneuver. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go faster, damn it.
Yeah.
And I popped that clutch. I spun that tire. I think I
Nice.
might have been the only one to do a spin out the whole weekend.
Nice.
And I rolled that throttle back real quick, and I was like, and pulled the clutch, and I was like, holy crap! Like I was totally unexpecting that. But it was, I don't know, it was terrifying and thrilling at the same time. I will say one thing I didn't expect was when I did spin that tire out, the bike was perfectly straight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I keep thinking
The
like,
bike wants to stand up.
yeah, I keep thinking like when you
Ride a
spin
pedal
out.
bike?
Well, no, not that, but like when you spin out and you see them on TV, they're always like drifting around corners and stuff.
Sure.
But if you are spinning out going in a straight line, it just
Well, you also weren't holding the front brake, which kept that
Correct.
front tire still, which would have fishtailed you somewhat.
I see.
So when I learned to ride, this was 15 years ago. I took the class in California. My instructors were having fun with it. They enjoyed what they were doing, and they interacted. At one point, the instructor was over me, so I was grab my hands. So I grab his hands, and he's like, "Yeah, way too tight. Loosen up on the grips." Okay, but then after class, I knew I wasn't prepared for the road.
Yeah.
I had a coworker who was an avid motorcycle rider, who happened to own 2 motorcycles. So he commuted to work every day, but the company I worked for at the time had a commuter bus for employees.
Mm-hmm.
So he rode one bike in one day, took the commuter bus home, and then rode the second bike in the next day for me to learn to ride on. He told me, get yourself a helmet, and you can ride one of the other bikes. I'll go out with you, and I'll teach you. And that's how we progressed. You know, the first progression was just riding on street.
Yeah.
And then we went across the highway and into a neighborhood and rode around that neighborhood, just practice turning and getting used to the bike. That was a couple of days of doing that. And then the third day, it was like, all right, let's take the highway. I'm like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, no, come on, it's all right. We'll just do one exit.
Yeah.
On, merge into one lane, off on the next exit. Okay. And we did that. And that was that. And then we'd get off the next exit, go through the neighborhood a little bit, and come back. And then a few days later, he's like, "All right, well, if there's no rain, we'll go up the mountain." 'Cause I lived in the Bay Area, California. We're 5 minutes from mountains, no matter what direction you go. And I'm like, "If you think I'm ready," he's like, "Yeah, I think you're ready." And that was easier because there weren't stoplights. Once we got there weren't stoplights. It was just the curves. The reason for the weather was it was a area that was covered in trees, and if there's rain, when the ground stays wet longer in that area, and then there's leaves, right? So you gotta be careful of that. So on the way there, the bike runs out of gas. What I didn't know, and he'd forgotten, was he put it on the reserve tank. So I didn't have. So anyway, got it there and got going, and that's what hooked me. When I got in those mountains and could smell the trees and nature, I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. And I haven't turned back. So I would like to offer you that same experience. I don't have a second bike for you to ride.
Both of them, yeah.
Well, yes, both of you.
Yeah.
That exact same experience. I don't have a second bike for you to ride. But
Or
I'd
third.
be happy to go out with you, and just kind of show you little areas and little things to do here and there slowly.
Absolutely.
We've been on quite a few cool rides that have I don't think we've been over 50.
Well, one downside I have is that we live on a 4-lane road.
Yes.
That it's immediately going to be 50 miles an hour.
It is.
And
You don't have to go
the
it though.
exit to get out of my driveway is a ramp.
Yeah.
So it's so getting out of the driveway will be like step number 1.
Sure.
And
That's
then
it.
And you know what that?
But as soon as I get out, 1,000 feet down the road is a left turn into a subdivision.
Right.
Where I
Right.
would love to go and practice left turns. I
Yep,
tell you
just
what,
tool around.
they do this maneuver out on the course where they actually set up a 4-lane stop, or not 4-lane stop, a four-way stop.
Four-way
Four-way
stop.
stop.
Four-way
yeah.
stop. And so my very first thing I do, right? So they have a big loop all the way around it, and then there's a 4-way stop in the middle. 2 of those lanes can go back to the loop, or 2 of those lanes go to U-turns, because U-turns are something you have to learn how to do, which, by the way, I don't know how to do. And so we go into this 4-lane stop, and I'm in the right lane, turning left, and I just jackknife or turn that thing as hard as I can into the oncoming traffic, like immediately. And he's like, no, you're over there. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like I'm doing it wrong. So I had to like fix myself and turn myself into the correct lane. And I was wondering why this other person was coming towards me. And it was just, it's so stressful. And to actually like get it worked out or whatever. And, yeah, I'm anxious to see how it is in the real world.
Love to get you both out there and just let's
I
go
think
for a ride.
it's kind of like driving the truck, though, right? I mean, you've got to have clearance. You can't just turn into a, let's say, right turn lane, like you would a car.
Yeah.
If you're at an intersection, we have to take a little more, otherwise you might take out, pedestrians or the power pole or the fire, whatever's on that corner. You might just take right on out. So I think it's the same. It's just obviously a smaller size and a little different.
What the thing I can relate to in my brain is the reason it's not like driving a car, driving a truck, is that very similar to flying, you have to have speed. That's a part of it, right?
Yes, it is.
If you're not going fast enough, you will fall over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing those U-turns and I'm trying to, it's not just a U-turn. They make you really U-turn in a very small area, an area that you probably won't actually U-turn in the real world. But if you can do that, then you can do anything.
Yeah.
I could make the U-turn, but I gotta go slow enough that I have to actually put my foot down to keep the bike from tipping over.
They don't want you to put your foot down.
And that you can't put your foot down.
Can't put your foot down.
So and you can't go outside the lines because then you would hit a car, building, whatever. So
and the U-turn, it's a box. It's a literal box.
It's a literal box
that you have to U-turn within that box.
Yeah. Part of me's thinking like in the real world, if I ever hit this spot, I could put my foot down.
Sure.
To balance myself, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We did.
We
did Sunday.
I did.
It's not the worst maneuver to not be able to pull off.
Sure.
Not being able to swerve, that's a bad maneuver not to be able to.
Yeah.
You got to be able to swerve.
Yeah.
You got to be able to brake short, which, braking short, very difficult. But again, so speed's on your side are one thing you have to have. In a truck, if I'm in a very bad spot, I can stop it and get myself out of it.
Right.
You can't do that negotiating a curve on a motorcycle.
Right.
So that's where it gets a little tricky. You have to be able to move enough to keep yourself upright. And so that's where it gets tricky. You don't have that time of being like, all right, let me stop. Okay, here's what I'm doing. You do that, you lay the bike over.
Right.
So that's where it gets tricky. That's where it's very difficult is you have to keep moving and you have to keep going. And that is where 90% of my stress comes out and figuring it out.
Sure.
And that's where practice comes in.
Absolutely. And then, like shifting gears, the clutch being up on the handle with the throttle on the other handle, like that's so weird. And I'm actually a pretty good stick shift driver. You can ask Jerry. He's been with me in a van in Italy when we were going down a mountain. Like, I can drive the crap out of a stick shift. I actually have that skill quite well. I feel very proud that I'm that good of a driver in that type of situation.
But how much time did that take you to get to that point?
I've been years.
It wasn't just
correct.
Get your driver's license and you're an excellent stick shift driver.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because
So
I caught myself several times like I would pull the clutch, make a perfect shift. It was beautiful, and release the clutch, only to realize I never touched the throttle. I had it fully throttled the whole time. And then if you do that, the bike just takes off when you hit that second gear or that third gear. So there's a lot of practice I got to do, a lot of finessing. I am not ready to go in the mountains and ride with you. But I would like to get my skill down and get better. And you and I have helped, what bike I'm looking for. So I've shared some used bikes around Columbus that we're going to go check out. And you'll probably end up doing the test drive while I I don't want to wreck their bike.
I get it.
But hopefully
you wreck it, you bought it.
Yeah. So hopefully we can find one. And but yeah, so it's been a fun experience, and I am looking forward to more time in the saddle, as they say. You never want to do a motorcycle, Jerry?
No, not really.
Ever?
A little bit, like I said before.
Was it when you watched Easy Rider?
No.
Oh.
What about a scooter around Italy?
A Vespa?
Yeah, a little
I could
Vespa.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
There's a company here in Columbus called Iron Pony,
Yes.
and they're a Vespa dealer. And some of those Vespas are freaking adorable. Are they
Yeah.
not?
They are.
Do you remember that one that was in the clothing section?
Yes.
Where it doesn't belong?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it had, was it Bugs Bunny or Bunny or
It's Mickey Mouse.
is it Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
It was Mickey Mouse themed Vespa. It was so freaking cute. I wouldn't be caught dead driving it, but it was adorable.
It was very cute.
It was adorable. Riding motorcycles is kind of like flying planes in the fact that you have to learn those skills.
Right.
But there's 1,000 things you can do. You can ride dirt bikes. You can ride street bikes. You can race friggin' bikes and never drive them on the street. You can ride cruisers. You can go touring. You can ride proper British style. You know, you can ride a German bike and do it whatever they do.
Sure.
Like there's you can have a sidecar. You can ride a trike. You can ride a trike with the 2 wheels in the front. You can ride a trike with the 2 wheels in the back. Like there are so many
You have options.
things. And so you at a school you'll have a Harley rider with a classic cruiser, low rider, loud pipes next to someone who has a stock super nice scooter that makes no noise next to a guy who's racing a Suzuki Hayabusa, you know? Like it's all these different things, and flying was kind of the same way. Like when they take someone out and they teach them how to fly, you may want to fly crop duster, you may want to fly aerobatics, and you want to flip the plane over and do all that crazy stuff. They don't discourage it.
Wow.
Let's learn how to fly and do that.
Yeah. And
you got to do it properly, but let's do it.
Let's get the basics down.
You may want to fly airliners.
Yeah.
You may want to fly cargo jets. You may want to fly freighters, or you may want to go to the armed forces. So you're going to learn now, so you can be an Air Force person, or the Naval Air Force, whatever. Like there are so many options out there. It's not like driving a car where we're all just kind of learning so we can get to back and forth to work or back and forth
we
to
just
school.
lost all of our naval aviators that used to
I said
watch.
Naval Air Force.
You
didn't
said
I?
Naval Air
I
Force.
apologize.
And all of our naval aviators that they just all
I am so
unsubscribed just now.
sorry.
So when you see that subscription level drop, Jerry, you know why.
Well, I'm pro Blue Angels. I think they're better than the Thunderbirds. But anyways,
fair enough. Fair enough. No, but when you are riding a motorcycle, you're using all of you. Your body is part of the bike. When you're making a turn, and the first time you realize that I want to turn right and I'm going to counter steer and push on that right handlebar, which is totally counter what we know. We know when we're driving a car or a truck, if I want to turn right, I'm going to turn that steering wheel to the right. When you push on the right, which turns the wheel the opposite way, and you lean and the bike turns to the right, it starts to click. When it really starts to click is when you're riding and there's a curve coming ahead and you don't consciously think, I need to do this. You just do it.
Yeah.
Or you get through a turn, you go, oh, there was a slight curve there where I had to make a slight adjustment. And maybe I didn't push. Maybe I just put a little pressure on with my right leg. And your body is a part of actually riding the motorcycle as opposed to you're sitting there, doing like this on the steering wheel. It's a different story. Now, we don't all get there right away as well. It takes time. But that when you start feeling it, that's, to me, is what fun is the fun part about riding a motorcycle.
I tell you that pushing, because, I've had friends that have rode before. You've told me the same thing. The whole you push to turn and lean. It is so freaking scary.
It is.
Like, the first time I did it, because I kept riding it like a bicycle where you turn the steering wheel. And they literally yell at you until you actually push and lean.
Yep.
And the first time I did it, I pushed and leaned the bike over, and then, like, almost like you're in a swerve, where you're leaning opposite the bike.
Right.
And the guy had to yell at me and be like, stop doing
Stop
that.
doing that.
Lean into
Stop
the
doing
bike like
Yeah.
you're a motocross rider.
Yeah.
And so I did actually lean into it. And once I was able to lean into it and really push and get the speed and get the everything, it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your brain goes, if I lean that much, I'm going to lose control of the bike.
Right.
Whereas the bike goes more.
Yeah, I want to do this.
Yes.
This is what I want to do.
And
Yeah.
my instructor, I thought it was really, one thing she said that I really loved was there was one time we were talking about it, and so half the group was riding and the other half group was parked, and I was parked, and she said, when you leaned, what'd you think? It was like, it actually felt quite nice. It was good, finally. And she said, look at the tire. And if you look at a motorcycle tire, it is very rounded. It's not flat like a truck or car tire. It's very rounded. She said, look that most of the tread is on the edges because they know the bike needs to lean. So they put a lot of extra tread on the sidewall that you don't normally get on a car so that you can go into that lean and the bike still does what it wants to. Like, it still holds traction and is able to do what it wants to do.
Yep.
And then she pointed out, she's like, I know it feels like you have a ton of lean out there and you're being excessive. She's like, the bike can do so much more than what you're doing right now. She's like, you'd be amazed.
So much
and
more.
So I know for me, that's something I have to work on. I have to really focus on and figure out. And I look forward to doing more.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to take the class, but I'm doing the Ohio class in spring. Spring, early summer next year.
Are you a rider already? Like, you know how to ride a motorcycle?
I do.
Like,
So-
you could just not do the class and go pass the test kind of thing?
I probably could.
Okay. There is another class. It's a one-day class. It's a returning rider class. You should do that one, not the whole thing from us.
I believe on the returning rider class, you have to have an endorsement already.
I don't have my endorsement. I have nothing.
She said you don't. No, you have to have your temporary
Just the permit?
permit.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. So because
And all I've ever ridden on is gravel, which we all know gravel is
it's totally different.
squirrely.
It's totally different, but that squirreliness
Yeah.
makes you a better street rider
Yeah.
because you've already know what to do when that back tire
I've
kicks
only
out.
ridden on gravel,
Yeah.
but I mean, I've not done a U-turn.
Well,
Okay, my U-turn involved a foot and maybe a little more tire action, and I got a little swivel on the back. But, I've not street ridden.
Right.
I've only ridden with you and, well, the ex-husband. We've talked about
ridden
that.
on the back.
Yes, on the back. So two different
As a
types of
passenger,
riding
yeah.
as a passenger. But I get it. I get the balance. Like when I ride as a passenger, I'm not leaning. When
Yeah.
he turns, I don't. Like we had snowmobiles growing up, and you had to lean to get that thing to move.
Sure.
But a motorcycle, I just sit there. I'm
Yeah.
whatever his body's doing is what I'm doing. If the bike leans, I lean. But if I was to lean too much, I'd throw us all out of whack. But anyways, I'm
But
excited
that's
to
what you
take
want to
it.
do, though, as a passenger.
Sure, and I'm excited to take it next spring. So again, I'm going to do the Ohio one, not the Harley one. But I just think the whole class would be good. Again, it's been a hot moment since I've ridden. Let's just say maybe 10 years,
well, at the end of the
8
returning
years.
at the end of the returning rider, which is one-day class, they do the test so you can actually take it and then go to the BMV and get that endorsement put on your license. But it so I think that may be more appropriate.
The returning class.
Returning class, but they also have some advanced classes too, and I want to take one of those. So I'm hoping to get the bike. I'm hoping by the time you're listening to this, I already have a bike. If you don't, it's probably because the bikes we saw were crap, or the
Or the
weather,
weather's crap,
or the weather
yeah.
never let us go test drive them.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing we've talked about is going ahead and knocking that out. But by the end of this riding season, which we got a month and a half or so left, 2
Yeah.
months maybe, I want to be proficient enough to feel comfortable, going to your house, for example,
Right.
or riding to the mailbox,
Right.
or just maybe taking a very short ride.
Sure.
Whereas right
Taking
now
the
I'm
back
not.
way to the yard.
Yeah, right now
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not anywhere near that, but I want to be, and that's going to involve me buying a bike and really doing
Getting
a lot
out
of
there and
practice.
getting after it. Yeah.
Yep. They also, I will say one thing I kind of want to do. I want to do just for fun. Was she told me that there is a class that they do actually out by the Honda plant. So if you
Okay.
don't know, Honda makes cars and motorcycles
Yeah.
in Ohio, not far from here, and they do a class out at the Honda plant that is dirt riding.
That'd
so
be fun.
a dirt bike class, and
So-
I'm
That's
like,
completely different.
I am
So-
like,
If
that
I-
kind of excites me.
If I may,
You may.
there's a podcast I listen to out of Santa Cruz, California, Motorcycles and Misfits. Great podcast. They went down to the same experience they have in Southern California, and it's a Honda owned and operated class.
It's cool.
And you go in there, and they have all the gear you need to ride dirt.
Yeah.
And again, this is a Honda owned and operated class. And I told Melissa this a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago now. It's been 3-4 years at least that I talked to her about this. And they mentioned they had one out here in Marysville. I was like, I would love to do that one day. And I haven't revisited it with you since.
We should do it.
But yeah, it's a dirt class, and they walk you through everything on the course. They have all the gear. The bikes are tip-top shape. I would love to do that.
They also have the advanced courses. They also do at the Honda place, and I think you can even do the beginner course, which we did out there as well. So there's several options out there. So it would be fun to do a few different classes out there.
I've been telling Melissa I want to do the advanced rider courses just to brush up on my skills. Again, before 1st of July, I hadn't ridden in 6 years.
Yeah, I agree. I want to do them as well because, I mean, even like if we do them next year, hopefully I will have several months of riding.
Sure.
And let's get better at those skills and let's develop all that because they did say that the advanced rider courses are not. It's not like let's brush up on the techniques we learned.
No,
it's totally
let's
different.
Yeah,
it's totally different in
skills.
techniques. Yeah, it's new skills.
Wow.
So it is totally different than what we learned. Now the returning rider class, that's a 1-day deal.
Yeah.
That is doing all the same stuff we just did, but the advanced class is all new skills. So I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a good time.
And kind of like when I do my private pilot's license stuff, I hopefully in the next month or two, I'll be done with that. I'll do my check ride, but then after that, I plan on going right into instrument and then on to commercial because I don't have any desire to fly planes for the rest of my life as a living or anything like that. But it's so funny because I get that question all the time, and I'm like, I run a pretty good trucking company, everything I can get under my belt makes me a better pilot. Every skill I did under my belt makes me. If I go take the CFI course, which I don't ever plan on teaching someone how to fly a plane, they're going to give me more skills and more information to make me a better pilot.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want to be better at what they're already doing? So.
Makes
Like,
sense.
I like driving cars fast, not on the open road, but I mean, like, I do like that racing aspect of cars. I don't think I'll ever get into it on motorcycles. It's just too risky for me, but for cars, I love it. So Porsche has an experience down at in Atlanta where you can actually, they teach you how to race cars, like how to do that.
Wow.
I think I would really enjoy that. I really want to go do that. It's very expensive.
Very.
And but one of these days it's something I'd like to go do. So I am looking at the time and what we've got left to talk about, and I think we're gonna have to push some of this off to next week. And I apologize because I teased it for you 2 weeks ago, and then last week we missed, and this week we're gonna catch you up on it, and we still didn't get around to it.
No,
but
we got stuck on coffee and motorcycles.
That's okay. We still talk about transportation.
Yeah.
But it's been a wild couple of weeks, and as you can tell, we haven't really spent a lot of time together. So it's nice to actually do that right now, and y'all get to listen to that insanity of us catching up. But next week, I promise you, we're going to talk about that way that we innovated the industry. And I'm looking at all these notes right here, and I'm like, I want to talk about it, but we don't want to have a 3-hour podcast or show. And Vince, I see what you've got on the list as things you want to talk about. Melissa, I like what you've got on the list and you want to talk about. We just are out of time.
It's okay.
So put a pin in it. We'll talk about it next week.
Yes.
And in the meantime, we would like you to
hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit all the buttons in front of you, leave a comment down below. If you're interested in jumping into Hyfield and checking out and talking to somebody and doing what we do over here and everything we got going, give us a phone call, 1-833-HYFIELD. Send us an email at
The Outer Belt.
Podcast at gmail.com.
It is coffee.
which is that?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah.
One more time, Jerry.
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com. Or check out our website at hyfieldtrucking.com. Lots and lots of ways to get in contact with us.
So the only way they can get in contact with us is to drop a comment, call us, or email us.
Or text us.
They can text us
They can
directly
text
from
us.
the podcast app, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if they're like banging around the website,
You can fill out a
You
form.
can fill out a form.
There's
Or you can
also
live chat.
live
us
chat.
Monday through Friday
Live
from
chat
8
is
a.m. to
amazing.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard
I did
Time.
that once the other day. I was live chatting with Jerry, and I was like looking for a job as a truck driver. Yeah, I get him some good questions.
it's a good idea. I'm gonna test that theory
I
out.
test them out. You keep them on their toes. It's like secret shopping,
Yes.
you know?
Secret shoppers.
Yeah.
There you
There's a
go.
thing.
You
Somebody
gotta do
always
it.
responds.
You got to do it. Yeah.
And if you have a motorcycle tip or trick or
Yeah,
thought,
please share it.
drop them in the
Share it.
comments. I may have already got a motorcycle, but may not. Eric may have got a motorcycle, but may not. By all means, let us know.
I
Look,
might have bought a Harley. Doubtful.
For me
doubtful,
not.
doubtful.
For me not.
Very doubtful.
You know, I'm 6'3". I'm 260-ish pounds. Looking for a motorcycle that fits me. Eric's 5'11". Yeah. And you weigh 106 pounds, and he's looking for a motorcycle that fits him. And what are you, 135?
I was down to 139 this week.
139. So he's looking for something that's appropriate for him. Probably, if I had to guess, not the same bikes.
Probably not the same.
Probably
bikes.
not the same bikes.
And later in life, it could be the same bikes.
Could be.
Once you're both more experienced, sure.
I'm 6.
But to start,
Yeah,
no,
but
not.
I'm 6'3", and I can't stand on your bike.
You're 6'3" and you can't stand on my bike.
Your bike's like 9 foot tall.
I'm 6'1".
Have y'all seen?
I'm 6'1".
Have
with
you
a
seen
30,
the picture?
I am 6'1" with a 31-inch inseam. I have more torso than legs.
Have you seen the pictures of the bike? And it's the first wheel is massive. It's like 3 foot tall, and
It
the
is
second
not
wheel
3
is
foot
like
tall.
18 inches. That's
I think
his
you should
bike.
try sitting on it
You have
again.
a picture to put up here of my bike, don't you, Jerry?
No.
Okay.
No, you will. It's right here.
Yeah, it's right here.
That thing's
he does
ridiculous.
now.
Look how tall it is.
It's not tall.
It's ridiculous.
It's
It's been a pleasure hanging out with you. It's been a pleasure hanging out with
Yeah.
you. Until we meet again next week, everybody please stay safe. Make good decisions.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Night. Bye.